Before we dive in, drop a quick hi in the comments. It may seem small, but trust me, it really helps YouTube share this story with more sci-fi fans like us. I'd love to see who's watching.
The alarms had been screaming for 6 minutes. Cooper counted. He always counted. Red emergency lights painted the corridor in strobes. Bodies pushed past him, Veloxy clicking in panic, Selvon screeching. A torn shouldered through the crowd, webbed hands shoving smaller species aside. Cooper didn't move. He stood with his back against a support beam and watched the flood pour toward the docking ring. He'd counted the ships through the viewport when the alarm first hit. 4 Council-class transports. Capacity maybe 800 each. SeaDeck had 6,000 residents. The math didn't work. The station's AI broadcast in 12 languages. Calm, professional. All residents proceed to designated evacuation points. Priority boarding for Council-registered species. Remain calm. Council-registered species. Kreth, Oreth, Selvon. The ones who mattered. Humans weren't on that list. Cooper emerged onto a gantry overlooking the main docking plaza. Thousands pressed against security barriers. Station guards in sealed suits holding the line. 3 ships already loaded. The 4th boarding now. Clean-scaled Kreth in council uniforms. Selvon merchants. Oreth diplomats gliding through chaos like it couldn't touch them. No humans. No SeaDeck residents at all. He found Overseer Vorak Sethis near the final boarding ramp. The Kreth who ran the orbital station. Tall for his kind. Scales polished to a shine that cost more than most SeaDeck workers made in a year. He was speaking to an Oreth in council robes. Pale, smooth-skinned. Vertical slits for eyes that reflected the emergency lights like mirrors. The Oreth was emissary. Talis Vone, the council's voice in this sector. He was shaking his head. Cooper couldn't hear the words. Didn't need to. Vorak gesturing toward the lower levels. The Oreth shaking his head. Slow. Final. Vorak's shoulders dropped. He walked toward the ramp. Didn't look back. The 4th ship sealed. Docking clamps disengaged with a sound like bones breaking. The umbilicals retracted. 4 lights growing smaller against the black. 3,200 people saved. 3,000 left behind. The medical station was a converted storage bay. Sinclair had set it up 3 years ago when he realized the station's actual facilities would never waste resources on SeaDeck. Cooper found him elbow-deep in supply crates. "You see the ships leave?" "I saw." Sinclair pulled out a box of filter masks. Old stock. Expired seals. Spore rot. VX-17. Neural tissue degradation through respiratory exposure. 8 to 14 hours for most species. Humans? 4 to 7% mortality. Fever, bloody cough, muscle pain, hallucinations. Survivors develop partial immunity. Partial. First infection hits hard. Second is shorter, non-lethal. Third time, full immunity. Some people get lucky first time around. Sinclair's hands stopped. The council knew. They knew humans could survive it. That's why they didn't bother saving us. We weren't worth the seats. "What do you need?" Sinclair laughed bitterly. "A real hospital. Antivirals that don't exist." He gestured at the bay. "I've got expired masks, black market antibiotics, and enough alcohol to sterilize maybe a quarter of the wounds I'm going to see." "Then that's what we work with." Cooper turned toward the door. "We seal what we can seal. Ration what we can ration. Keep people alive long enough to build immunity. That's 17 days minimum. Then we last 17 days. The corridor outside was darker than it should have been. Power fluctuations already. Cooper made it 30 meters before he found the first body. Selvon, young, feathered crest matted with fluid. Beak open in a silent scream. Peak, courier, fast kid. Cooper had used him twice for quiet deliveries. 4 hours, maybe less. Dead before the ships cleared the docking ring. Footsteps. Joseph Brandt came around the corner. Young face, Wide eyes. I saw him fall. I tried to help. You touched him? I was checking for a pulse. You're exposed. Yosef went pale. What do I do? Cooper looked at him. 22, maybe 23. Aid worker type. Noble intentions. Zero survival instincts. Find Sinclair. Medical station. 40 meters back. He'll tell you what comes next. Am I going to die? Maybe. Humans have a better chance than most. Go. Yosef stood frozen. Move! He moved. The hub was chaos. 200 people, maybe more. Humans and aliens mixed. Shouting, crying, arguing. A Kreth dock worker bellowing at a human woman. Veloxy huddled near a support column, compound eyes tracking everything. Cooper spotted Kong near the far wall, 2.5 meters of scaled muscle. The Kreth stood absolutely still. Yellow eyes found Cooper across the hub. Kong started walking. The crowd parted. He stopped 2 meters from Cooper. You stayed. Ships wouldn't take me. Kong's voice rumbled like gravel. Wrong cast, saw Vorak board. He didn't look at me. They never do. What now? We keep these people alive, seal sections, ration everything. Wait for the virus to burn out. Many will die. Yes. You think you can lead them through that? Cooper met his eyes. I think I'm the only one here who's already made peace with the cost. Kong stared at him for a moment. Then he moved, positioned himself at Cooper's right flank, the stance of an enforcer. He didn't ask for orders. Cooper raised his voice. Everyone shut up. Nobody listened. Kong roared. The sound hit everyone like a physical force. Silence. The ships are gone. The council sealed us in. They're not coming back. Cooper let that sink in. In about 6 hours, people are going to start dying. The virus hits aliens faster than humans. But we're not going to sit here and wait to die. He laid out the plan. Seal sections, quarantine zones, rationing, medical training to Sinclair, engineering skills for air and water. A Veloxy near the front raised one of her 4 arms. Why should we listen to you? Cooper looked at her. Compound eyes. Dark bronze chitin. Because I'm the only one here with a plan. And because I'm not asking. What's your name? Kira. You're an engineer. Atmospheric systems. Electrical. Good. He pointed at a console. Can you isolate our air supply from the rest of the station? Kira moved to the console. 4 hands working before she sat down. I can reroute primary feeds, but we'll need supplemental scrubbers, or we suffocate in 40 hours. Can you build them? With the right materials, yes. Then that's your job. Her compound eyes studied him. She nodded. A Torn approached. Bulky frame, webbed hands, moist skin glistening. You'll need water systems. I know them. Every pipe, every valve on sea deck. Name? Gruel. You're in charge of keeping us hydrated. Gruel blinked once. Done. He walked away. No questions. 3 hours later, Yosef Brandt collapsed. By the time Cooper reached the medical station, Yosef was in the final stages. Gray skin, bloody foam at his mouth, eyes seeing nothing. How long? Cooper asked. 6 hours from exposure. Sinclair wiped his hands on a stained rag. His immune system just collapsed. He's got maybe 20 minutes. Yosef's hand twitched. His mouth moved. Should've. That was all. Sinclair pulled a sheet over the body. First human casualty. He won't be the last. How many more? If the mortality rate holds, 120 to 210 dead. Minimum. Realistically, double it. And the aliens? Sinclair didn't answer. His silence was enough. 6 hours after the ships left, Sea Deck held its first funeral. Pike's body was first, then Yosef's, then 3 more Selvan. Patch held her. The thin engineer with nervous hands jury-rigged an incinerator from a cargo bay furnace. It wasn't dignified, but it was sanitary. Cooper watched each body go in. No words. No ceremony. When it was done, Vero caught up with him. Big man. Wide, not tall. Former freight hauler turned enforcer. Cooper had saved his life once. Or maybe just didn't kill him when he could have. Either way, Vero remembered. Boss, got the bulkhead sealed on sections 4 through 7. Kong's holding the main junction. But we've got a problem in section 9. What kind? 15, maybe 20 humans, barricaded in a storage compartment. Won't come out. Won't follow protocols. Say they're waiting it out alone. Cooper thought about it. Don't cut the water. Give them 12 hours. When they see what's happening outside, some will change their minds. And if they don't, then we cut the water and they come out anyway. Or they die. Vero nodded. Anything else? Find anyone who knows how to make alcohol. Not drink it. Make it. Disinfectant. Painkiller. Currency, if things get bad. Understanding dawned on Vero's face. I know a guy. Get him. Whatever he needs to scale up, he gets. The end of the first day found Cooper on a gantry overlooking the main residential block. Plastic sheeting divided the space into quarantine zones. Isolation wards marked with spray paint. Distribution points for water and protein paste. Kong patrolled the perimeter. Kira worked 3 consoles simultaneously. Gruel monitored the water system. Patch kept the air flowing. Sinclair hadn't slept. Neither had Cooper. He found a quiet corner near a sealed bulkhead. Sat down. A sound made him look up. Kira stood a few meters away. You should rest, she said. You first. Something like a smile crossed her alien features. I don't sleep much. Veloxy trait. Lucky. She sat down against the same bulkhead. Close, but not too close. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? For making us part of us. Cooper didn't know what to say. So he said nothing. They sat in silence while SeaDeck struggled to survive around them. 12 hours after the ships left, the screaming started. The screaming lasted 3 days. Cooper stopped counting the voices after the first 48 hours. They blurred together. Human, alien, young, old. The virus didn't discriminate, and neither did the sound of people dying. By day 5, the screaming had faded to something worse. Silence. Not the silence of peace. The silence of exhaustion. Of throats too raw to make sound. Of people who had accepted that no one was coming. SeaDeck had transformed. Plastic sheeting hung from every junction, dividing spaces into quarantine zones. Spray-painted symbols marked isolation wards, medical stations, distribution points. The emergency lights had been supplemented with salvaged work lamps, casting everything in a harsh white glow. Cooper passed a knife station. 3 blades laid out on a metal table. Clean, oiled, ready. A human woman sat beside them, sharpening a 4th. The knives weren't for fighting. They were for cutting out infected tissue, for lancing boils, for amputating when necrosis set in too deep, for ending suffering when someone begged, and there was nothing else left. Every blade on SeaDeck had marks now, small notches on the handle, 1 for each use. He found Kong at the junction between Section 6 and 7. Report. Quiet. No incidents since the fight in Section 4. Casualties? 2 more overnight. Human. Second infections. Their systems couldn't handle the repeat. Alien count? Kong's jaw shifted. 43 remaining. SeaDeck had started with roughly 400 non-humans. 43 left meant almost 90% dead. Cooper looked at Kong's arm. A black ring circled the Kreth's forearm, just above the wrist, ink mixed from antiseptic and carbon dust. You got tattooed. Kong looked down at his arm. The humans were doing it, marking survivors. I asked what it meant. What did they tell you? Warning labels. Kong's eyes met Cooper's. I have survived something that should have killed me. Others should know. Cooper almost smiled. Kreth don't mark their wounds. You told me that. Kreth hide their wounds. Kong flexed his arm. I am not Kreth anymore. Not the way they define it. I am C-Deck. He said it like a statement of fact. Cooper understood. The medical station had grown. 3 connected compartments now. Cots lined the walls. IV stands made from salvaged piping. The smell hit before the entrance. Blood. Disinfectant. Something worse underneath. Sinclair looked like death. Pale skin. Sunken eyes. Hands trembling. When did you last sleep? Define sleep. More than 20 minutes. Then I don't remember. Cooper looked at the samples on the workbench. Blood in sealed vials. Tissue samples. Notes in handwriting that was getting harder to read. What are you working on? Antibody mapping. The humans who survive. Their blood carries markers. Proteins that fought off the virus. I'm trying to figure out if I can transfer those to other species. Can you? I don't know. Human antibodies might not work in Veloxy systems. Might cause rejection. Might make things worse. He rubbed his face. But I'm running out of options. The aliens keep dying. I either try something desperate or watch them all go. How many humans have you lost? 63 confirmed dead. Another 12 critical. Sinclair's voice was flat. We're holding at roughly 5% mortality. 63 dead out of 3,000. 1 in 50. The distillery? Running at full capacity. Enough disinfectant for 2 more weeks. Sinclair gestured at a shelf lined with bottles. Tastes like reactor coolant mixed with regret. Works better than anything the Council ever gave us. Cooper found Kira at her console. 4 hands moving across 3 interfaces. Blue light across her chitin plates. Status? Primary scrubbers at 62%, down from 65 yesterday. Her voice was tired. Filter degradation accelerating. I've calculated our oxygen consumption. At current rates, we have 11 days before the air becomes toxic. The virus burns out in 17. Then we have 6 days of breathing poison before we're clear. Cooper studied her face. When did you last eat? I don't remember. When did you last sleep? 31 hours ago. That's not enough. It's what I can spare. Her thorax flushed darker. My species is dying around me. I'm one of maybe 20 Veloxy left, and I'm the only one who can keep our air clean. You're no good to anyone if you collapse. Take 4 hours. I can't. The systems... We'll hold. I'll have someone monitor them. Who? There's no one else who... Then teach someone. Cooper's voice hardened. You're not the only person who can learn. Kira stared at him. You're giving me orders. I give everyone orders. No, you give humans orders. You request things from aliens. Her compound eyes fixed on him. You're ordering me, like I'm one of yours. You are one of mine. Her thorax flushed deep purple. 4 hours, she said quietly. Then I'm back. Good. Cooper turned to leave. He heard her sharp intake of breath, the sound of something wrong. He turned. Kira was gripping the console, all 4 hands locked on the edge, body swaying. I can't. She collapsed. Cooper caught her before she hit the deck. Her body was burning hot. Sinclair, medical emergency at environmental control, now. Kira's eyes found his, glazed, but still aware. I was careful, she whispered. The virus, it was in the vents. I thought I sealed them all. Her eyes closed. Cooper lifted her and ran. Sinclair met him at the medical station. What happened? She collapsed. Fever. Exposed through the vents. Sinclair scanned her. His face got worse. She's 8 hours in. Maybe 9. 10 hours before total organ failure. 12 if she's lucky. Save her. I don't have a cure. I have a theory and some blood samples and a treatment that's killed as many as it's helped. Then make it work. Sinclair stared at him, reading something in Cooper's face. Get out so I can work. Cooper didn't move. He took Kira's hand. Her fingers were burning hot. Chitin plate smooth against his calloused palm. Don't die. That's an order. Her eyes opened barely. The iridescence almost gone. But her thorax flushed purple. Even now. Cooper let go and left. 12 hours later, Vero found him. Section 9, the barricade group. They've gone silent. How long? 18 hours. Water consumption dropped to 0. Cooper made the call. Get a breach team. Kong, Patch, 3 others. We're opening that door. Patch cut through the weld in 6 minutes. Kong went first. Cooper followed. The smell hit before the lights came up. Death. Rot. Bodies cooking in recycled air for days. 14 bodies scattered across the floor. They had died badly. Without medical support, without quarantine protocols, without anyone to cut out infected tissue or end the suffering, they had gone through every stage of VX-17 alone. Some had tried to help each other, bodies curled together. Others had died fighting. Broken furniture, blood on the walls. When the hallucinations hit, they turned on each other. One man had found a knife. He had used it. On others first, then on himself. Cyrus, the leader, the one who convinced them to barricade, to trust in a council that had already abandoned them. Cooper heard breathing from the back, wet and ragged. He found the survivor behind a stack of crates. A man, middle-aged, curled in a ball, shaking with fever. We tried to. Cyrus said the council would come, said they wouldn't leave us. Cooper keyed his comm. Sinclair, I need a med team in Section 9. 1 survivor. Critical. He stood and turned to Vero. When they get here, move him to medical. The rest, process them. Standard disposal. Vero's face was pale. What do we tell people? The truth. They tried to hide. They died. 6 hours after they breached Section 9, Sinclair sent word. She's stable. 2 words. The most important words Cooper had heard in days. He found Sinclair at the medical station entrance. Dark circles under his eyes, hands trembling, but something in his expression that hadn't been there in days. Hope. The treatment worked? The treatment almost killed her. Hour 4, her system started rejecting the antibodies. I had to adjust the protein markers on the fly. Sinclair led him inside, but she made it. First confirmed non-human survivor of VX-17 on C-deck. Kira was awake. She looked terrible. Chitin plates dull and flaking. Compound eyes barely luminescent. All 4 arms limp, but breathing. Steady and even. When she saw Cooper, her thorax flushed purple. You look like hell, Cooper said. You should see the other virus. Her voice was weak, but the tone was dry, trying to joke. Cooper almost smiled. You disobeyed orders. Which orders? I told you not to die. I didn't die. I just negotiated the terms. Sinclair stepped in. She needs a week of recovery. No work. Complete rest. Kira's eyes shifted to him. The air scrubbers. Will be handled. Cooper's voice left no room for argument. Kira closed her eyes. 1 week. Then I'm back. Cooper turned to Sinclair. The treatment. Can you replicate it? I think so. Each species needs a different configuration, but the principle is the same. Sinclair ran a hand through his hair. I need to document everything. If something happens to me, nothing's going to happen to you. Cooper, look at me. Sinclair spread his trembling hands. I haven't slept in 4 days. I've been exposed twice. If I get really infected, I might not have time to explain what I've learned. What do you need? Someone to learn this. Someone smart enough to understand the biology. Sinclair glanced at Kira. She's an engineer. Her brain is built for systems and processes. Give her purpose, and she'll recover twice as fast. Cooper looked at Kira, eyes closed but hands curled slightly, listening. When she's strong enough, you teach her. Everything. Sinclair nodded. Day 7. The water recycling hub in Section 12 started failing at 0300. Gruel met Cooper at the entrance. Pressure seal failure. Cascade through secondary systems. 2 hours before the whole network goes down. Can you fix it? Need access to the main valve cluster, lower section. Gruel's flat eyes were grim. The section flooded with contaminated air. How many people? Minimum 5. Volunteers only. Vero appeared, already suited up. I'll lead the team. Vero. If that water system goes down, we all die slow. Vero's jaw was set. I've been exposed twice already. Beat it both times. I'll beat it again. Cooper wanted to argue. Couldn't. Take Patch. Get it done fast. 2 hours later, the water system stabilized. Vero's team emerged from the lower section. Then Vero collapsed. Cooper was there when it happened. Watched the big man's legs buckle. Medic! Now! Sinclair arrived. Did the assessment. He's infected. Deep exposure. The spore count in that section was off the charts. His system's already been stressed by 2 previous infections. Can you treat him? I can try. Some people get immunity after 3 exposures. Some people's bodies just give up. Vero's eyes opened, focused on Cooper. Boss, don't talk. Did we fix it? You fixed it. Water's flowing. Vero smiled, blood on his teeth already. Then it was worth it. They carried him to medical. Cooper stood in the corridor for a long time. Gruel appeared beside him. He knew. Yeah, he went anyway. Yeah. Gruel was quiet. Humans are strange creatures. Cooper nodded. He had given the order. He had sent Vero into that section knowing what it might cost. Command was easy when the costs were abstract. Harder when they had a face. He keyed his comm. All section leads. Status report in 30 minutes. Hub, no exceptions. Then he went back to work, because that was all he could do. 8 days passed. 8 days of watching Vero fade. 8 days of Sinclair fighting to save him. 8 days of SeaDeck holding on. By day 15, the screaming on SeaDeck had stopped completely. Not the silence of exhaustion anymore. The silence of survival. The virus had burned through SeaDeck like a wildfire through dry brush, and now there was nothing left to burn. Cooper walked the main corridor of Section 6. His boots echoed on deck plating that had been scrubbed so many times the metal had started to show through the original coating. The plastic sheeting still hung from the junctions, but the quarantine symbols had been crossed out, one by one. Section by section. Clear. The word felt strange, foreign, like something from a language he'd forgotten how to speak. He passed the knife station near Junction 7. The blades were still there, clean, oiled. But the woman who had manned it for 17 days was gone. Sleeping, someone had told him. First real sleep in 2 weeks. The knives had marks on their handles. Cooper didn't count them. He didn't need to know the number. Some knowledge was better left alone. The hub was quiet when he reached it. A few dozen people moving through, but nothing like the chaos of those first days. They moved with purpose now. Tired purpose, but purpose nonetheless. Distribution points were still active. Water, protein paste, the vile alcohol that had kept them alive when nothing else could. A human woman was teaching a young Veloxy how to operate one of the distribution consoles. The Veloxy's 4 hands moved clumsily, still learning. The woman corrected her grip with patience that wouldn't have existed 2 weeks ago. Cooper watched for a moment. Then he moved on. Kong found him near the entrance to Section 12. The big Kreth fell into step beside him without a word. They walked together through corridors that had become familiar in ways neither of them had expected, past maintenance closets that now held distilleries, past sleeping quarters where humans and aliens bunked side by side, past the incinerator room where the air still smelled like ash and endings. "How many today?" Cooper asked. "3, all human. Secondary complications." Kong's voice was low, tired. "The virus is gone, but it left damage behind." "Names?" "Tellis, Moreau, Vance." Cooper filed them away. 3 more names for the list he kept in his head. The list that grew longer every day even as the dying slowed down. Alien count? 31 remaining, down from 43. The virus had stopped spreading, but some of the survivors had been too damaged to recover. Their bodies had won the battle and lost the war. Cooper's jaw tightened. "Any change?" Kong didn't need to ask who. "Sinclair says it won't be long now." The medical station was quieter than it had been in weeks. Most of the cots were empty. The ones that weren't held people who were recovering, not dying. A small miracle that felt larger than it should. Sinclair met Cooper at the entrance. The medic looked worse than ever. Skin gray, eyes sunken so deep they looked like holes. His hands had stopped trembling, only because they didn't have the energy left to shake. "He's awake," Sinclair said. "Lucid. That won't last." "How long?" "Hours. Maybe less." Sinclair's voice cracked on the words. The virus is completely gone from his system. Full immunity. His body fought it off 3 times and won every single time. Then why? Because immunity takes time to develop. His body was still fighting the second infection when he got hit with the third. It never had a chance to adapt. Never had time to rebuild between assaults. Sinclair rubbed his face with hands that looked like they belonged to a man twice his age. The virus is gone, but it took too much with it. Lungs, liver, kidneys, everything's failing. There's nothing left to save. Cooper stood silent for a long moment. "Can I see him?" Sinclair stepped aside. Vero was in the back corner, a cot near the wall, away from the others. Privacy for what was coming. He looked smaller than Cooper remembered. The big man reduced to something fragile, something breakable. His eyes opened when Cooper approached. "Boss. Vero. Come to watch me die? Come to see you off." Vero laughed. It turned into a cough. Blood on his lips when it finished. "Sinclair says I beat it. The virus. 3 times. He smiled with red teeth. "Guess I'm too stubborn to die the easy way." "You saved the water system. Saved all of us." "Yeah." Vero's eyes drifted to the ceiling. Figured that was worth something. It was worth everything. Silence stretched between them. The only sound was Vero's labored breathing and the distant hum of the air recyclers that he'd helped save. "Boss!" "Yeah. Was it enough?" Cooper looked at him, at the man who had followed orders without question, who had walked into contaminated air, knowing what it would cost. "It was enough, Vero. More than enough." Vero smiled. His eyes closed, his breathing slowed, and then it stopped. Cooper stood there for a long time. He didn't move, didn't speak. Just watched the stillness settle over the man who had given everything he had. Sinclair appeared beside him. "I'll take care of him." Cooper nodded. He turned and walked out of the medical station without looking back. The next 36 hours blurred together. Cooper moved through SeaDeck like a ghost, checking systems, coordinating teams, making decisions that needed to be made. The work didn't stop just because people died. If anything, it demanded more attention, more focus, more of everything he had left to give. Kira found him in the environmental control hub on the morning of day 16. She looked better than she had, chitin plates regaining some of their luster, compound eyes brighter, all 4 hands moving with purpose as she worked the consoles. "Air quality is stabilizing," she said without looking up. "Scrubbers at 78% efficiency. Patch found a cache of filter components in Section 14. Should hold us for another month." "Good." "Sinclair's teaching me the antibody protocols, the adjustment calculations for different species." Her hands paused. He says I'm learning fast. You're an engineer. Systems are systems. Biology isn't engineering. Close enough. Kira finally turned to look at him. Her compound eyes caught the light and scattered it into colors he couldn't name. He's getting worse, Cooper. Sinclair. He won't admit it, but I can see it. The exhaustion. The exposure. His body is starting to fail. Cooper had seen it too, had been watching it happen for days. The way Sinclair moved slower, the way his words slurred sometimes, the way his hands had gone from trembling to still and back again. Can you do it? What he does? I don't know. Kira's thorax shifted colors. Uncertainty. I understand the theory. I've watched him perform the treatments. I have his notes, his calculations, his protocols. She paused. But understanding and doing are different things. If he gets infected, really infected, I don't know if I can save him. Then make sure he doesn't get infected. Cooper, keep him alive, Kira. Whatever it takes. He's too important to lose. Her thorax flushed purple. And if I can't, you can. Cooper held her gaze. You survived when your entire species was dying around you. You learned a whole new discipline in 2 weeks because it needed to be done. You're the strongest person on this deck, and I'm including myself in that count. Kira stared at him. Her compound eyes glistened, moisture that might have been tears in a human. I didn't know you thought that. Now you do. Cooper turned toward the door. Keep him alive. That's an order. Cooper. He stopped. Thank you. He didn't respond, just walked away. But he heard her thorax flush purple behind him. Sinclair collapsed 6 hours later. Kira found him on the floor of the medical station, surrounded by data pads and sample containers. He'd been working on something, refining the treatment protocols, pushing himself past every limit his body had. She didn't panic. She moved. 4 hands working in concert, checking vitals, preparing injections, running calculations in her head that she'd only learned days ago. Cooper arrived to find her elbow deep in medical equipment, compound eyes focused with an intensity that reminded him of combat. What happened? Multiple system failure, exhaustion combined with repeated low-level exposure. His immune system finally gave out. Kira didn't look up from her work. I'm putting him in a medical coma, reducing metabolic demand, giving his body time to heal. Will it work? I don't know. Her hands kept moving, adjusting dosages, monitoring readouts. But it's what he would do. It's what his notes say. It's all I have. Cooper watched her work, watched the engineer become a medic through sheer force of will. The notes, Sinclair mumbled. His eyes were half open, unfocused. Everything's in the notes. Don't let it die with me. You're not dying, Kira said firmly. You're resting. And when you wake up, you're going to teach me everything you left out of your notes. Understand? Sinclair's lips twitched, almost a smile. Bossy. I learned from the best. His eyes closed. His breathing steadied. The monitors showed stable vitals. Kira stepped back, all 4 arms still, watching the readouts. Cooper moved beside her. He's going to make it? He's going to make it. Her voice was steady, certain. I won't let him die. Cooper nodded. I'll have someone bring you food. You're not leaving this room until he wakes up. I wasn't planning to. Cooper looked at them both, the medic who had saved C-Deck and the engineer who was saving him. Then he went back to work. Day 17. The drones arrived at 0600. Cooper got the alert from Kong, who had been watching the docking ring since dawn. Council medical transports. 3 of them, smaller than the evacuation ships, designed for biohazard containment and body retrieval. They expected corpses. Cooper assembled a team at the main docking junction, Kong at his right flank, Gruel at his left. Patch and a dozen others spread out behind them, armed with tools and knives and the hard-earned confidence of people who had survived the unsurvivable. The docking clamps engaged. The airlock cycled. Council medical teams emerged in full hazmat suits, sealed environments, filtered air, protected from the contamination they expected to find. They stopped when they saw Cooper's team. The lead medic, a Selvon, feathers pressed flat under the suit's helmet, stepped forward. "We're here to assess the contamination zone and retrieve any remains." "There are no remains," Cooper said. "We burned them." The Selvon's head tilted, confusion visible even through the helmet. The council received reports of catastrophic casualties. Total population loss was projected at... The council was wrong. Silence. The medical team looked past Cooper, into C-deck. They saw the armed patrols moving with purpose, the distribution points operating smoothly. The people, human and alien alike, watching them with expressions that held no gratitude and no fear. Children playing behind sealed doors. Humans standing upright. Aliens standing with them. Alive. The Selvon's voice crackled through the suit's speaker. "This is unexpected. I need to report to the council. Emissary Vone will want to..." "Emissary Vone sealed us in here to die." Cooper's voice was flat, cold. He decided we were acceptable losses. He was wrong. "The quarantine protocols are over. The virus burned out. We survived. And now you can leave." The Selvon shifted, uncertain. "The council will want a full report. Medical assessments. Contamination surveys. There are protocols. The council's protocols killed 63% of the non-humans on this deck, killed hundreds of humans, left us to rot while they ran for clean air." Cooper stepped forward. The Selvon stepped back. C-deck is closed. No council authority here anymore. Humans stay. Aliens who want to stay, stay. Everyone else leaves. "You can't just..." "I can." Cooper's eyes were steady. "We held the line for 17 days. We buried our dead, and saved who we could, and built something out of nothing while the council watched from orbit. We earned the right to decide what happens next." Kong shifted his weight, a subtle movement that drew attention to his massive frame, to the muscles that could tear hazmat suits like paper. The Selvon looked at him, at Gruel, at the dozen armed survivors behind them. "I'll relay your position to the council." "You do that." The medical team retreated to their ships. The airlock cycled. The docking clamps disengaged. 3 lights growing smaller against the black. Cooper watched them go. Kong's voice rumbled beside him. "They'll be back." "Certainly. With soldiers, demands, threats." "Yeah. What then?" Cooper turned away from the viewport. "Then we remind them what acceptable losses look like." The days that followed were quiet, not peaceful. C-deck would never be peaceful again, but quiet in the way that follows storms. Cooper walked the corridors on day 20. Empty bunks everywhere. Names scratched into walls by people who wanted to be remembered. The knife stations were being dismantled. Blades cleaned and stored, ready for next time. The distilleries kept running. Alcohol as currency. Immunity as value. The tattoo stations were busy. Black rings around forearms, warning labels, plague marked. He found Sinclair in the medical station, propped up on a cot, data pad in hand, dictating notes. Weak, but awake. Recovering. Kira sat beside him, 4 hands sorting through medical supplies while she listened. "You're supposed to be resting," Cooper said. "I am resting." Sinclair gestured at the cot beneath him. "She won't let me stand. Won't let me work. Says I can give instructions from here, but nothing else." "You almost died. You don't get to complain," Kira said without looking up. "He tried to get up twice this morning. I stopped him both times." "I saved your life, and I saved yours. We're even." Cooper watched them, the medic and the engineer. Something new built from wreckage. "The council declared us a biohazard zone," he said. "Restricted access, no trade, no transit." Sinclair's expression darkened. Quarantined. After we survived their quarantine? They're afraid of us now. Cooper almost smiled. Good. What happens next? We trade what we have. The survival protocols, the antibody treatments, your research. Cooper looked at Kira. Your research now, too. Trade with who? Anyone who doesn't bow to the Council. We exchange knowledge for supplies, food, equipment, weapons. Sinclair frowned. Weapons! The Council will come back. Cooper held his gaze. We need to be ready. He found Gruel near the water recycling hub. The Torn was running checks on the systems with the same patient competence he'd shown since day one. System stable, Gruel said. Yeah. Gruel was quiet for a moment, his webbed hands resting on the console. When the ships left, I thought we were dead. The virus would kill the aliens. The humans would fight over scraps. He paused. I was wrong. We surprised you. Your kind does not break. We break. We just keep moving after. Cooper's comm crackled. Kong's voice. Cooper. Docking ring. Ship just landed. 3 armed. Say they want to trade. Cooper looked at Gruel. Duty calls?